Here we are. We have spent the past couple days figuring out what your ideal client is looking for, looking at the search engine results for those to validate that that is in fact what you want to be talking about and where you belong. We've started to look at specific keywords for that selected topic and moved it into an outline so that you can remember those phrases that you kind of want to include throughout that blog post. Now what I'm going to do is tell you to sort of put those phrases that we've looked for on the back burner and get the information out of your head somehow. The tool that I use for this, or the framework that I use for this, is from a book called Bird by Bird by Anne Lamott. She talks about creating our SFD, or excuse my swearing, shitty first draft. So what you need to do here is not to create the perfect blog post that comes out of your head like a divine download from heaven and it will be perfectly formatted. But instead what I want you to do is just get the information out of your brain and into some sort of digital format. I guess you could do just handwriting it, but then you'd have to retype it. This is for a blog post. So if you want to handwrite it into a Remarkable tablet or your iPad, so that way it will auto, rewrite it as a blog post. Cool, if that's what works for you. If you want to close your eyes and open up a Word doc and just type to get the information out. This is not a time to edit yourself. This is not a time to look up look up your synonyms, ironically. This is not a time to make a perfect blog post. This is just getting the information, the rough draft, the roughest draft you can get out of your head and onto paper. If you are a verbal processor, open up the Memos app on your phone, or if you use Voxer, send a Voxer to yourself where you think about what are those bullet points that I had on my outline, and then you just let yourself kind of verbal diarrhea what you need to talk about out of your mouth and onto something that can be edited later. Or if you're like me, you have a YouTube channel, this is where you go in and you record the video for the person who is going to edit it, which may be you, it may be a videographer. When I go through this process, I always, when I have my videos, have an outline. I have a plan of attack. If you've seen a video I've created that's like the 7 steps to doing something, I know exactly what those 7 steps are, but I haven't scripted it out word for word. I just know I'm going to talk about these 7 steps because I have somebody who can do the editing for me. So what ends up being like an 8-minute video here on YouTube, I talk for like 40 minutes. My poor videographer has to come in and update that, but it's because I'm getting all the ideas out. And the more I process, the more I talk about it, the better the information gets and the clearer it gets. So don't feel like you have to get the perfect blog post that just magically comes out of your fingers here. Go write, free write. Write whatever comes to mind on this, talk about whatever comes to mind on this, maybe even send a voice memo to a friend and record it so that way it feels like you're talking to a human. People want to read what sounds like a human talking. They want to listen to something that sounds like you talking, not like you reading a script. So get the information out of your head however it makes sense to you. Go to, Rev or Otter and just talk in and have it transcribed, but find a way to get whatever the information is that's on your outline. Doesn't have to be in the right order, doesn't have to include all those keywords, just whatever that idea, the concept that you're trying to be found for, get it out of your head and onto paper digitally somehow. I'm going to give you a little bit of time on this one. I have kind of a filler video that comes in next because this is actually the most time-consuming part for many of us. This is where we get that kind of blinking cursor of doom that makes us feel self-conscious that it's not going to be perfect. Let it be imperfect. Over the next 6 videos, we're going to improve that and make it something that works for your audience and for the Google robots. But first, we need to have that foundation in place. We need to have something that we can play with. So your goal for today's video, for today's lesson, is to just get that information out of your head and into a digital format. And I'm going to stop talking and you go do the work. I'll see you in the next video.